Warning. The following podcast will contain subject matter that on the surface may appear tame and for everyone. We here at Orsini's Uncensored Mind can assure you that it will not be. You will hear adult language. We will have a complete disregard for your feelings and emotions, and we will have zero restraint on the opinions shared on this show. There will be no safe spaces available for anyone listening. So, if you're one of those individuals offended by literally everything, this is not the fucking show for you.
We just want to be as successful as Vince is. And then we'd like to, kick his butt.
You want a war? You're gonna get one. Is there any question now? What is the most powerful organization in professional wrestling?
When you start getting your ass handed to you on a weekly basis, you either fold or you get better.
D-Generation X invades WCW tonight!
Mick Foley is going to win their world title.
Ethically, did I have a problem with doing that? Of course not. It's business.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
I mean, we're just doing whatever we want.
How dare you! My God, the battle lines have been drawn!
We were in a massive war.
Let's get ready.
It wasn't like, well, if it doesn't work out, we move on or something. If it didn't work out, we were probably going out of business.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy, your main man, your top soul brother from another mother. This is your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. This is AJ Orsini, and yes, I was able to get through the traditional opening here of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. When last you left me, last week, not in a good place. Not in a good place. I actually dropped a little apology video beforehand, which we have to discuss here, actually, in just a few minutes. But yes, not in a good place last week. Angry as fuck, too. I actually advocated several times. May not be the episode download. That's like one of the dumbest things a podcaster could do, is literally go on their own social media and basically tell the entire world, don't download this. Yes, I'm uploading it, but you are under no obligation to download this one, because it was more for me than for everybody else. And Lord and behold, in true internet form, basically telling someone not to do something is exactly apparently what you should do, because holy fuck, I got downloaded a lot. So I guess you guys like me when I'm angry. Unfortunately, I'm not very angry today. Colin Mel right now. Lots of stuff to get to. A lot of great news. A lot of stuff coming down the pike as early as today. I cannot absolutely wrap my head around a lot of the stuff that we've learned over the course of this last week. And of course, all to the crescendo of the big news here today. Of course, our top story for the day, or for the evening, I should say. That was an unintentional rhyme. All Elite Wrestling debuting on national television. This is going to be great on a lot of levels. There's some pitfalls, there's some things that need to be discussed, some things they should probably try to avoid, and definitely some things they should be sticking to. This is going to be positive, negative. This is going to be pros, cons. We're going to have the discussion here tonight about All Elite Wrestling, and before that, of course, we've got a lot of other stuff we need to get to, but before we do, two very quick things. It has been a while since I have plugged my own shit, and the reason why I haven't is because I think I do a pretty fairly job of doing it on social media, but the truth of the matter is not everybody who listens to this show follows me on social media, and it was quite evident. It was really brought to my attention recently Not just the WrestleMania roundtable. It's kind of started there and snowballed into other shit. But even as early as just last week, I did the Angry as Fuck stuff, and people genuinely wanted to listen to it, and they were having some problems with Podbean, which I have been told happens a bunch of times. I've actually had a really good time being on Podbean for the course of, where are we, about a year and a half in now? I'll be celebrating 2 years in October. October's going to be a big fucking month, man. AEW, WWE to Fox, my 2-year anniversary. It's going to be pretty fucking dope. But I've heard before about problems with Podbean, and I'm on many platforms, and I have not done my due diligence here to remind everybody listening to this show that I am on many, many different platforms. So let's go through that real quick right here. Pay a few bills, if you will. Of course, ajoum.podbean.com is the main source. Every Wednesday, 9 p.m., you can check out new episodes of the show itself. They're labeled by episode. I have some content that I have been recording that will start going on I need to get more content out. Apparently, one episode a week is pretty cool, and it's about all I can really muster, to be fair and honest about it. But my schooling is pretty much up by next Wednesday, so I am going to have a little bit more free time on my hands, and I've already recorded a bunch of shit. So I wanted to do some YouTube exclusive shit, which I am going to do, which I'll plug in a second, and then some more stuff, some more content here on Podbean. Some extras, some other interview stuff that maybe didn't make the cut, some extra stuff. So I got a lot of shit on the hard drive here that I haven't really used, and it's just a crime, really, that I haven't used it. Why record it if you're not going to use it, right? That's what I'm saying, bro. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put some stuff on Podbean. So, of course, ajoum.podbean.com. If you cannot access Podbean for whatever reason, either through the app or through the website, I am on other platforms. I am on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, Castbox.fm, Google Play Music, Listen Notes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more recently, Anchor.fm. I'm also on multiple social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I don't know why I still have that. I do post on it, and people follow it from time to time, but, whatever. I haven't had a reason to shut it down. Like my Snapchat. That was gone. I can't deal with Snapchat. That was just a pain in the ass. Of course, the YouTube channel itself, /AJ Orsini 96 host. And I have a WordPress. Is that what it's called? Not WordPress. That's an old... What the fuck is that thing called again? I don't know. I have to look that shit up again. I have some other page. Once you start... I'm noticing this. Once you start signing up for different sites, for some reason, because a lot of these major websites have subsites, they start putting you on other shit. I didn't even know I was on. It's a weird feeling for family members and friends to Google you, and they Google you and send you a bunch of shit that you didn't know about. So apparently I'm on a bunch of other streaming sites that are subsidiaries to the ones that I'm on. So if you just Google Orsini's Uncensored Mind, you'll find a bunch of fucking shit. If for some reason, literally the 9 places I just told you were either out of order or someone put their dick in the machine and fucked it up, play on words there, and you just have no access to any of this shit, you can Google Orsini's Uncensored Mind and you can find the other streaming sites. As another side note, this is item number 2. I still have the t-shirts for sale. Of course, the easiest method in which to get these shirts, www.prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM to get the Pro Wrestling Tees official tee. If you're looking for different colors, because the one on Pro Wrestling Tees is a straight up gray, dope shirt. I still rock it to this day, of course. Got to self-promote, do your thing. I've had the privilege and awesome benefit, I guess you could say. I've benefited from it, from people buying the shirt. So thank you guys for supporting the show in the way that you have. If you've yet to get your hands on these sexy tees, again, prowrestlingtees.com /. I'm already stumbling, and I haven't even gotten to the meat of this sandwich yet. AJOUM, and you can get the shirt for alternate colors, color options, and for male and female, because I think the shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, I think, is either male or just unisex. If you're looking for a female cut, hit me up. I got you. Hit me up in the slide into my DMs so I can give you multicolored female shit. Speaking of shit, we're going to get balls deep into this shit right away. I would love nothing more than to start this whole thing off with a what the fuck segment. I haven't done one in a while. I found something literally yesterday that I actually had no plans of doing one this week until I found this article. And of course, I absolutely had to talk about this. So let's get into some WTF, baby. Let's get into that right now.
Oh man, that's deep.
What in the fuck is he doing?
What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
So we're going to take our what the fuck segment here. International, we're going across the pond here, ladies and gentlemen. I found an article here that is absolutely amazing. And it's not about the article. It's not an editorial piece or anything like that. So what I'm about to tell you is not exactly the usual news story that you would get from me in one of these segments. This is more of a PSA. It's a public service announcement for all of you. This is me passing the information on to you. And PSA usually stands for public service announcement, but for now, for this particular segment, it will stand for poop. Poop service announcement. That's right. If you're looking for poop, if you're an aficionado on poop, if you consider yourself a poop expert, this is the article for you, folks. Of course, it comes from thehuffpost.com. There is a zoo in Prague. Prague is in Czechoslovakia. I looked it up. And they have got a zoo out there filled with animals and great exhibits. And they have a brand new exhibit dedicated solely to poop, dung, manure, as it's described here in the article. After producing plenty of elephant dung and other manure for years, Prague Zoo has capitalized on its expertise. They are shit experts over there at Prague Zoo. That's how it's worded here, on its expertise, by creating a new permanent exhibit on the world of animal excrement. That is I love new permanent exhibit. They are so confident that you people will not be able to contain your shit-citement, that you won't be able to stop yourself. Like, you're going to hop on a plane right now. Now, I know they're more talking for the locals who could just drive up and go. But no, permanent exhibit gives you the impression you should hop on a plane right now. Buy your ticket and come see the shit show over in Prague. The shit is not your average shit, by the way. It's different information and samples of everything from fossil turds. We're talking prehistoric turds. This is fossilized doo-doo on display here. I know we're opening up with something gross, but follow the bouncing ball here. Also known as coprolites, from extinct animals to the excrement of modern-day gorillas, lions, elephants, horses, turtles, wombats, camels, and other animals in various sizes, shapes, textures, and colors. This is why I said if you are a shitspert, okay, if you are an expert on shit, if you really are the guy that you or gal that you claim to be, okay, you need to check this out. And what made this article even better, the zoo director, now I'm going to have trouble saying this name, it's a Czechoslovakian name, okay? The zoo director's name is, I'm going to sound it out here, Miroslav Bobic. Miroslav, S-L-A-V, Bobic. His name, whose surname literally means poop in Czech, says he was inspired by American George Franzen and his online museum. So apparently here in America, we have an online museum dedicated to poop. I did not know this. The exhibit coincides with the zoo's publication of a new edition of, and it's in quotations here, the Encyclopedia of Excrement. The zoo has been selling elephant dung to gardeners as fertilizers for years. So once again, folks, I love the fact that this was written in. For the entire time that I have been reading this, I am almost 100% sure you guys were sitting back, being judgmental, saying those fucking crazy Europeans. But alas, the inspiration for this craptastic voyage this zoo has been on is once again inspired by the great folks here in the good old US of A. Because apparently, putting shit online, literally, They must have taken all the Twitter comments into one thing. Selling shit online was great inspiration for a permanent poop exhibit in the Prague Zoo. So if you get a chance to check this out, this is an easy Google, by the way. You can get more information at HuffPost, HuffPost.com. And of course, I wouldn't type in poop. Never search poop alone. That will always disappoint you. But it's /entry /Prague -Zoo -excrement -exhibit no, there's other letters and stuff, but that's kind of the stuff. You could just do Prague Zoo, and I'm sure it'll come up. I'm making fun of the URL, but this was an amazing article. Amazing article. The guy's name is Poop. I mean, that's real. He's the director now of an exhibit based solely on poop. You gotta love that shit. You absolutely have to fucking love it. That is great stuff. Great stuff right there. That is our WTF moment, I guess you can say, of the episode. I have not done one of those in a while, and for good reason. It's very hard to find a really, really good one. You know what I mean? A really, really good one is hard to really find. I opened up this segment with a few good ones, and then I kind of fell off because I just didn't find that any of them were really that crazy. So I kind of backed off a little bit. Oh, what the hell was that sound? Anyway, damn computers. Yeah, so speaking of shit, by the way. Yes. Speaking of excrement, let us talk about the freak. Let's get balls deep into this shit. It's a dope song, though. It's a pretty badass thing. Old school. This could have been a Road Warrior thing if you think about it. Back in the Chicago days. Early Chicago days, like NWA traveling around days. That would have been a dope thing. Let's talk about the freak for a second. All right, let's talk about this because I am going to bend, not break. No, my friend. Orsini does not break his own rules, but he will simply bend. And by bend and not break, I mean this. If you listened to a few episodes, actually, was it a few episodes ago? Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this up again, and I will give you the exact episode because it had 3 in it, right? So 3. Ooh, this was a while ago. Okay. Episode 53. Yeah, this was a long time ago. 3 topics, too taboo for CD's Uncensored Mind. There are 3 topics that I absolutely refuse to deal with on this show. One of which we're going to discuss here. By the way, for those of you wondering what the 3 things were, it was politics, it was religion, and the third one was the one that we are going to actually dabble in a bit right here, and that is racism. Now, the reason why I think I described it then, but I'll describe it again. The reason why I don't like having those discussions with people is twofold here. One, everything involved in that discussion, to be honest with you, is completely 100% subjective. I don't have a right answer. I don't have a wrong answer for you. I just have my experiences and the experiences of my friends and family. That's it. That's all I can go by, which, to be honest with you, is not a big sample size because there's literally billions of people on this planet. So, while I may have 5 or 6 people in my circle who have experienced horrific racist situations, those situations are not isolated only onto me. This is a big conversation that can go back and forth, and people usually tend to get into their feelings and avoid all logic when having the conversation. So I limit myself in these racist diatribes that people go on over and over and over. Also, I'm 36 years old, and I can be completely honest with you. And I've had this conversation on the show before, on one of the previous episodes. That one I won't be able to tell you which one it is. I'm not entirely sure. But I am of mixed ethnicity. I am Italian, Black, Chinese, and Puerto Rican. And I am not really claimed by either group. I'm not Black enough to be Black. I'm not Italian enough to be Italian. I'm not Puerto Rican enough to be Puerto Rican. And I'm damn near not Chinese enough. Okay? I'm not really claimed by any fucking group. So out of pure unadulterated confusion, I've never really been in a situation where I've had to personally deal with racist shit. Not direct. Maybe a few side eyes, because I've been in some pretty Caucasian places, down south, up north. Maine's a pretty weird place. Georgia's a pretty weird place. You have your instances. I've been to a few places in this country where, yeah, there's a side eye. I might be the darkest person in the room. If I'm the darkest person in the room, that's an issue. Right, so I've had these situations happen to me before. And this is why I say I'm going to bend in this conversation and not break. Because just because I have not personally experienced it does not mean that I don't have some basis to understand how the concept itself works. Actually, I think being a third party in this situation allows me and grants me the clarity to speak on certain things that people just have a hard time understanding because they're so used to being in the thralls of the situation, i.e. being the victim of racist acts or racist situations. Enter Lars Sullivan. Now, here is a gentleman who has been hired by the WWE as a professional wrestler since the year of 2013. It is 2019, which means he has been officially with the company through developmental, through contract negotiations, whatever the case may be, for over 6 years. In the course of that 6 years, there is no evidence at all whatsoever that we know of anyway of any racist, homophobic tweets or conversations that he's had. Almost none. However, on his way up to the main roster, some people got a little itchy. They started going on the internet. They started finding some things out. One thing led to another. And a lot of, how was it described here? A slew, not a lot, a slew of racist, sexist, homophobic, and otherwise offensive posts on a message board over the course of 6 years. The message board they're referring to is a message board that was on bodybuilding.com. That's where these messages were left. But it's not just posts on a message board. I mean, his Twitter has had shit on there. Social media in general. He's just been kind of very opinionated. He's recently apologized for this, but let's start from the beginning here just real quick. It's not going to be a long conversation, I promise you. I got other shit to get to. But here's the deal. His real name is Dylan Miley. All right, let's start with that. I don't normally do the shoot name deal, but it's important to this situation. So on his way up to the main roster somewhere around November, people over on Reddit, those damn Redditors over there, found some messages that were posted on that exact message board I told you about between the years of 2007 and 2013. He had two distinct usernames on that board. I guess because of all of the messages that he was leaving, they might have banned him at some point, and he just created another one. The first username was it's just straight up disenfranchised, and El Perfecto, which are great bodybuilding usernames. Those are great. Both profiles include photos of younger Miley. This is way back in the day. And the first comments that resurfaced was about... he made a few sexual remarks about Stephanie McMahon, which is crazy how he got hired after he said that. He made a crack about San Diego, at the time San Diego Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers. And the one line here that wins the cake here, there was a post that he wrote when he said, there is a gray area when it comes to the definition of rape. Shit like that. That's the type of shit he's putting up. Miley's comments, all right, are very disparaging toward Muslims, Hispanics, even WWE wrestlers at the time were getting it. Apparently in 2012, when Kofi Kingston and R-Truth became the tag team champions, he referred to them, look like they could be in a prison black gang. So, racist, he is. Valedictorian, he is not. This is your usual 140 character garbage that you see on the internet, which I'm going to get to that in a second. So, he's had a laundry list of offensive shit that he has had on social media and on the internet for a while. And apparently around 2013, that's when the stream of bullshit stopped, which also coincides with the time in which he got hired by the WWE. A fan wrote to Big E for whatever reason. I guess because he's been so vocal about the Hogan deal, I guess some fan thought it would be okay to ask him about this. He said, at WWE Big E, are you aware of this racist asshole that you're going to have to work with? And then linked all the garbage that this guy has been saying. Big E actually responded on Twitter and said, many are aware, if true, he has to bear the albatross of being a bigot and working in a company that is now filled with minorities. Again, we're just going to lay the facts out right here real quick. So all this stuff went down. Big E was just one of the people, I think, that's been talking about this. Once the controversy really hit the fucking fan, WWE released a statement on behalf of Lars Sullivan. There is no excuse for the inappropriate remarks that I made years ago. They do not reflect my personal beliefs, nor who I am today, and I apologize to anyone I offended. Well, this escalated even farther when a few fans took these links to Snickers, who was one of the sponsors for WWE. Snickers then responded to the fan that they would draw this concern to the WWE, which apparently they did, and the WWE did in fact respond in a big way, it would appear. WWE supports a culture of inclusion regardless of gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation, and we are committed to embracing all individuals as demonstrated by the diversity of our employees, performers, and fans worldwide. WWE said in a statement to SI.com, Dylan Miley, aka Lars Sullivan, will be fined $100,000 and required to complete sensitivity training for offensive commentary uncovered from his past. WWE will also facilitate meetings for Dylan with community organizations to foster further discussion around the power of social media and the impact of your words. That is a direct line from the WWE. They are letting everyone know that they're taking these statements seriously. They fined him $100,000. And they're sending him to sensitivity training for his offensive commentary. Okay, those are all the facts, and it took me a while to get all that shit out, but I just wanted to make sure everybody was up to speed as to what was going on with this entire situation. I am going to do something very similar that I'm going to do with AEW at the end of this. I'm going to do it here and now. I'm going to do a quick pro-con situation. There's going to be some positive. There's going to be some negative. Let's start with the negative, okay? And there's a lot of negative to go around here. First of all, true to form, okay? This guy just gave us the most basic fucking situation ever of all time. I'm going to stop him at this does not reflect my personal beliefs. Let's start there, because that's an easy one to wrap my mind around. If you feel free to send statements like this out into the public, it's how you felt. Do not tell me this does not reflect your personal beliefs. That's bullshit, because if you had personal beliefs going in the other direction, you would not say that. The bottom line is, you went into a company that did not like what you said, and you had to say something, so that's what you came up with. That was the equivalent of when you're arguing with someone, and you're telling them this is how it's going to be, and they're telling you they're pissed off, and you apologize. But when you apologize, you say, I'm sorry you're so offended. That's not a real apology. And neither is this a real answer. This does not reflect my personal beliefs in who I am as a person. Bullshit. That is exactly what it does. That's why people tell you not to put this shit on social media. Because regardless of how people feel about social media and Twitter and all this other stuff, 9 times out of 10, this is what you put on there is what you actually feel. A lot of people will throw shit out there with the quotation that it's a joke. I'm just joking. This isn't for real. Facebook's not real life. Just laugh. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You and I both know that you put it out there to see how people would respond. And if it was positive, you stick with it. If the response is negative, you back off on it. And he had to back off here because his boss is basically telling his ass, we can't have this. You've got to say something. And he did say something. And it was a bullshit something. And now we spin it the other way. His punishment, $100,000 sensitivity training. The $100,000 hurts. He ain't a millionaire, folks. That is a big chunk of change coming out of his goddamn pocket. The sensitivity training is just as weak as that it doesn't reflect my personal beliefs. Bullshit. There's no sensitivity training for a racist. A racist can be convinced over time that he's been living under false beliefs, but simply sending a man to sit in a therapist's office for a few weeks is not going to change him for shit. And it's all cosmetic. It's all bullshit. And it confirms exactly what I've been thinking throughout this entire process. And the thing that I've been thinking is Lars Sullivan hasn't done anything. He's just been saying outlandish shit. If he's going to lose his job over that motherfucker, we should all be fired. We should all be fired. I'm not saying everyone is a racist. What I'm saying is he would essentially be getting fired for saying some outlandish shit. And I think everyone at some point in time has said outlandish shit. I'm not trying to sympathize with a racist. He's a piece of shit. There's no doubt about that. But what I'm trying to tell people is you need to watch where you take stances and where you don't take stances. Is he a piece of shit and should probably lose his job for the stupid shit that he's been just saying? Probably. If his work didn't reflect exactly what they needed and this is the only bullshit to his name, yeah, you cut that shit loose. The problem is he made these comments before he came into the WWE. So if you really will, you don't have to have the commentary on whether or not Lars Sullivan is racist or a piece of shit. You don't even need to get into all that. That's a subjective thing. You either think he's a piece of shit or he's not. The real conversation, in my opinion here, is up to what level of responsibility does the WWE really need to take? Because this stuff all took place before he got here. Should Lana be fired for doing nude sets before she came into the WWE? Because you wouldn't be allowed to do it now, right? PG, Make-A-Wish, be a star, all that garbage. Her titties are not going to help that cause, right? But it's the same deal. She was doing this shit before. There's a lot of different shit that's been going on. People saying shit online. They got racists in the company right now. How long have we been hearing about Michael Hayes? How long have we been hearing about a lot of the old school guys, especially from those UWF days, coming into the WWE? I mean, come on. Mark Henry, R-Truth. I mean, we've heard Ron Simmons. We've heard a litany of African-American males alone. That's not even including the Hispanic ones, the Asian ones that come in through the WWE who will tell you flat out there are racists in the WWE right fucking now. There's racists. They just inducted a few people who have been considered racist for fucking forever into the Hall of Fame this fucking year alone. So what I'm saying here is if you're going to get mad and hold the candle to Lars Sullivan, that's fine. Are you prepared to do that for everyone? Are you prepared to go down the fucking list? Because I would be. I've been having this conversation all week, and I'd love to have it here on the show. I don't have time to go into the full conversation, but when you start taking characteristics and character into question, when you start bringing up, it's like when people do the whole Benoit conversation, right? They say, well, Benoit was a great wrestler. He should be in the Hall of Fame, but because of what he did, I can't separate the two. I don't think he should be in. And then there's the other side that says, well, yes, he did a very bad thing, but if you just look at his career, hell yeah, he's a fucking Hall of Famer. He should go in. And here's the deal with that. He's never going into the Hall of Fame because at some point in time, character has to factor in somewhere. Now, I'm not calling Lars Sullivan a fucking murderer, but at the same time, your belief, who you are as a person, what you base your life on, that's part of your character. That's who you are as a person. And if you're going to be a bigot, if you're going to go out of your way to fuck things up for people just because, that is a part of your fucking character. And it should be a part of the process. Now, Lars Sullivan, for all I know, will never be a Hall of Famer. Who knows how this is going to go? But so far, to be honest and fair, the negative has been way bigger than the fucking positive. He hasn't done a whole lot yet. Now, if he gets over with the audience and he starts doing a bunch of shit, that's great. But we've got fan bases chanting racist at him now at events. We've got people coming in from all over the world because WWE is traveling all around the world here, and word is traveling around the world. So he's getting heat, but he's getting the wrong kind of heat. This right now is cosmetic. $100,000 sensitivity training. We're going to see over time how this really gets handled. Because he can apologize all that he wants. It's the actions that everyone's going to be paying attention to. So this $100,000 deal, this whole deal with the whole sensitivity, that's all garbage. The money is the part that really hurts. Your sensitivity training, it doesn't reflect my personal beliefs. All fucking garbage. It's all garbage. It's all for you. It's all for the show. It doesn't mean anything. He was racist yesterday. He's going to be racist tomorrow. So if you're sitting there saying, well, he should lose his job for it, hey, I'll co-sign that with you. But are you prepared to go all the way with it? Because if you really want to sit down and examine a lot of people, including yourself, that if you're that kind of a person, if you're that fair about it, then I'm with you. But if you're just being selective, if you're jumping on the train, if you're sitting here saying to yourself, well, he's an asshole, so he should go, but you're not going to mind your own fence, no, I'm not going to co-sign with that, like at all. So that's the Lars Sullivan situation. More on that as it develops, because I doubt very seriously this is going to be the end of this. I really don't, especially as it continues on with him on the main roster doing what he's been doing, because now he's injuring people. So this is all just bricks on top of bricks on top of bricks. And I mentioned a few episodes ago, Brock Lesnar is looking for an opportunity to retire at WrestleMania 36. They're going to have a vacancy in the Beast department. And a lot of people pitched this guy, fans and workers, as the perfect guy to be put into that role. If he can't get his shit together, that's going to be an improbability. Between his anxiety bullshit, his racist bullshit, he's just got issues. And he may not be worth all of the fucking headaches. Another situation going on internationally. We're headed back to Saudi Arabia. June 7th, if you will, is when we will be heading over to Saudi Arabia, to Jeddah, which is where they were, I believe, for Crown Jewel. I believe is where everyone was. That might have been the last one. Anyway, we're headed back to Saudi Arabia, and normally the conversation is, well, we're, blood money, what are we doing, going back to this garbage country, blase, blase, blah. But at the end of the day, to be completely honest with you, the conversation really hasn't been about Saudi Arabia this time. This time, the conversation has been about the dream match. That's right, the match that everyone's talking about, the ones that people can't turn off from their brains. Goldberg will be returning in Saudi Arabia June 7th, and he'll be taking on the one opponent he always said, I will come out of full retirement for. He is competing against The Undertaker at the Super Showdown, and all of the memes, the Rugrat meme of the two old guys fighting, and the break-a-hip match. Someone suggested that it'd be a casket match, just in case someone actually does fucking pass out and die in the middle of this match. Here's the deal, folks. People say, oh, this would have been a dream match 10 years ago. 10 years ago was 2009. This was not a fucking dream match in 2009. Now, if you go 20 years back, you go back to 1999, I am co-signing that shit hard. Goldberg versus The Undertaker in 1999? Yeah. That would have been pretty fucking interesting to watch. Two guys in their prime really going at it. Listen, they don't really need to do a whole lot. And the beautiful... Oh, my Lord, have mercy. What is all that? The beautiful part about literally all that is we don't need them to do a whole bunch. There are two other matches on this card that people really need to wrap their heads around here. First of all, Triple H and Randy Orton. Why the fuck are these two fighting? Who knows? Remember, the Prince is the booker for this. He's paying for specific matches. I don't know how we wound up on Triple H versus Randy Orton, but here we are. And then we have a 50-man battle royal. 50-man battle royal. Now notice, if you'll notice, it's not a 50-man Royal Rumble. It is a 50-man battle royal. Okay? They're going to put all these fuckers into the same ring and then we'll just figure it out. 50-man indicates 2 rings to me. I don't know about you. For a battle royal. For a Royal Rumble, it made sense. It's intervals. You can get people in and out. But that sounds like 2 rings to me. At the very least, they won't do 3 rings. 2 rings was too much for them. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to do they're not going to do a 3rd ring. That would just be outlandish. Who would do such a ridiculous thing as to have 3 rings for a multi-man battle royal? That just seems ridiculous. Is it not? That just seems ridiculous. Yeah, so everyone's talking about Goldberg and The Undertaker. They don't have to do a whole lot. It's not the dream match that they're going to be promoting, I'm sure. The package is going to be fucking dope. And you know they're going to do a few appearances on either Raw or SmackDown just for the fucking footage of doing it in Saudi Arabia. So I'm sure they're going to show a lot of old footage and the Streak versus this. That would have been dope. Like an undefeated Goldberg comes from WCW to take on the Streak at WrestleMania. That would have been crazy. Yeah, so they're going to build up to that, and I think people are just losing their fucking minds right now, and that's fine. That's cool. Me, personally, I'm not that big on any of these shows because the matches just really never seem to be that good at all at Saudi Arabia. I just don't get any of the matchups. I don't really understand the matches. But I'll definitely be peeking at this one. I'm not going to lie. Goldberg Taker does pique my interest a little bit. I just want to see the car crash. I want to see the mayhem. I want to see what happens when it all falls down. And speaking of falling down, we have a big pay-per-view here for the WWE this weekend. Money in the Bank taking place in Hartford, Connecticut. My old stomping ground. I've never been in the XL Center, but I definitely have been in the Hartford Civic Center when it was there. And I got to tell you, I had a lot of great memories in that building. I went over it about 2 weeks ago. My history in Hartford, Connecticut. Absolutely in love with that city. I will never forget living there. It's one of the greatest experiences of my life. But they've got a lot of great matches in store for you guys, and I use great in quotations because this could either be really good or a fucking car wreck. But here we go. Daniel Bryan and Rowan will be defending the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles against the Usos on that show from WrestleMania main event here, essentially. Not the last match, but definitely one of the higher matches on the card. To pre-show, Daniel Bryan, good job. The Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Tony Nese against Arya Daivari. Low expectations on that. Not that they're two bad wrestlers. It's just this Cruiserweight Championship situation always tends to be fighting from behind. A lot of people just never really focusing on them too much. So, you know, they're going to be behind the eight ball here. I hope they get a chance to really come after something hot. I hope they don't open or, you know, match 2 or 3. Just give them something to follow. You know, keep the momentum going. The United States Championship on the line. Samoa Joe defending against Rey Mysterio in an actual match, I'm sure, this time, as opposed to the one that I got at WrestleMania because of an injured Rey Mysterio. The WWE Championship on the line. Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens. That still looks and feels odd. Even now, Kofi Kingston as WWE Champion against Kevin Owens. It just feels and looks odd. And I will talk more on that another time. I don't have time today to get to that. Steel cage match. The Miz and Shane McMahon. Becky Lynch defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair, and also defending it against also defending the Raw Women's Championship against Lacey Evans. Roman Reigns versus Elias for zero reason and zero logic. And, of course, for the WWE Universal Championship. Never thought I'd see the day where I would be more excited for the Universal Championship match than I am the WWE Championship match, but I am as Seth Rollins defends against the phenomenal AJ Styles. And, of course, your 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. I will not pick for all these matches. As I've said 1,000 times, this is not a prediction show. I'm not analyzing these matches, none of that shit. But I do want to talk about the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches because I think there's something to be discussed about that. I put it on social media just the other day. It is pretty much 50-50 split here. On the idea and the concept of Money in the Bank in general. Just the idea of the ladder match and having this contract and walking around with it for an undetermined amount of time. We've had people cash in the night that they've won it. We've had people cash in almost a full year after they've won it. We've had people cash in at WrestleMania, cash in at SummerSlam. There have been so many scenarios where the WWE has utilized the Money in the Bank briefcase. And believe it or not, it's been around since 2005, so it's about 14 years of Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm going to be honest with you. It is running thin with me. The last few times has been very disappointing. Braun Strowman winning to me was the fucking death of that fucking briefcase. I didn't even care who had it after the fact. because it just seemed meaningless and dumb, and it was the first time I ever saw someone win the briefcase, except for maybe when John Cena did it, because that you could just tell they did it for the resume. He didn't, obviously, John Cena does not need a Money in the Bank briefcase. He can just show up to work and get a championship match. What is the point? So, yeah, but Braun Strowman really, I mean, if John Cena in 2013 killed the briefcase, Braun winning it pretty much put dirt over that fucker. But thankfully, because of a screw situation, Braun Strowman is now no longer in this matchup. So the male competitors go as such: Sami Zayn, who took Braun's spot, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Ali, Finn Balor, Andrade, and Randy Orton. On paper, this is a very athletic ladder match. Sami Zayn, obviously, a lot of history in ladder matches. Ricochet speaks for itself. Drew's a big guy, but he moves like a little guy, and he's been in ladder matches before. Baron Corbin is basically a broomstick, so we'll see what the hell happens with that. Ali, obviously, high flyer, fits very well in this atmosphere. Finn Balor, obviously, fits very well. Andrade fits very well. Randy Orton, while people are skeptical about the fact that Grandpa's in this matchup, he actually has a very nice history of doing some pretty intense shit in Money in the Bank. So I look forward to see what he does with all of these gymnasts, apparently, in this matchup. 8 guys, and to be honest with you, with the exception of Baron and Randy, 6 of these guys really need this fucking briefcase. So this is going to be a very interesting ladder match. I think the more interesting ladder matches for the Money in the Bank briefcase usually tend to be when so many of the guys in the match need it. There's been so many years where it's like 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys that you could possibly see winning it. This is one of those years where I can honestly say 6 of the 8 really fucking need this briefcase. Randy doesn't need it, obviously. He's Randy Orton. Baron, he's already won it once, and we saw what happened with that. So, no good. So, you're going to say to yourself, Orsini, if you think 6 guys can win, that can't possibly be your pick. You've got to pick one, and I would agree with you. I am going to pick one. I'm going to pick the one guy that I feel really needs it, and the one guy that I feel like would do really well with it. And that answer is Andrade. I would rather see Andrade really win that briefcase, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you in 2 words. Zelina Vega. I honestly believe between Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Ali, Finn Balor, Andrade, and Randy Orton, Zelina Vega is the best thing to happen to that briefcase. And I know you're saying to yourself, you're saying, Orsini, she has a chance to win the female. Does she not? She does not. She's not in the women's ladder match, which is all the more better that she's involved with this one. And she's not really in the match per se, but it's no holds barred. There's no rules. You know she's coming out with Andrade. So she's going to play her part. So Andrade, to me, is all action, 100%. The guy can work with anyone on the card. Big guy, small guy. He's just an amazing, phenomenal athlete, a great wrestler. This guy just figures it out. His timing is great. His only Achilles heel was the talking, and the talking's been settled. Of the group, he's a complete package guy. Now, I know you're thinking, well, if you're talking complete package, you got to be talking Drew McIntyre. And I agree, but I disagree as well. I said at the beginning of this, I think I'm going to pick a guy I feel needs the briefcase. I don't feel Drew McIntyre needs the briefcase. I don't think he's physically imposing enough to initiate the champion all on his own. I can see people ducking Andrade or Finn or Ali or Ricochet or Sami. I don't see too many people ducking Drew McIntyre. He's physical enough. He doesn't really need the briefcase to get a championship match. Sami would need it because, God forbid, I mean, he seems to find himself in these matches quite a few times. Ricochet's new, but it's almost too soon for that, right? You want to see that blossom and develop. Ali had his opportunity, but he got hurt. He's back to the bottom now. We'll see if he works his way back up. And to be honest with you, Finn Balor already has the Intercontinental Championship. So, I mean, here we are, Andrade. To me, for the women's ladder match, it's a very similar situation. Natalya, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, and Carmella. And of this 8, Bayley, to me, is in the Baron Corbin category. She has been abused and beaten and smothered into the ground for so goddamn long. I don't understand how they can possibly fucking do anything with her without it backfiring in their fucking face. She is damaged almost beyond fucking repair, and she was damaged before the Sasha Banks deal. Go back to YouTube. Look at Bayley's debut on Raw. Go back and listen to that fucking reaction and tell me she wasn't one of the best fucking commodities the WWE had in a long time. Listen to her entrance now. It is fucking sad that is what it has become. It's sad that is what it has become. And then this situation with the tag titles it's just making things worse and worse, and on a daily basis they just keep putting more dirt and more dirt over her career. And she's coming out now on SmackDown with an edge, and she's a little less happy, and we're starting to see these little instances of Bayley getting a little bit more serious, a little bit more pissed off. A heel turn would do fucking wonders for Bayley, and it's the smarter move, because heels usually tend to call the matches. She's calling matches anyway, and she's the babyface. She's feeding to these worthless competitors that she's competing against. She's miles ahead of everyone else she competes against. So she's got to spoon feed it. As a heel, she wouldn't have to do that. So unless they plan on turning her heel in this match, meaning she does something to one of the babyfaces and then grabs the briefcase, I'll co-sign. But until then, if the plan is to keep course with Bayley, no fucking way she wins this. And I hope she doesn't. I know Mandy Rose was big going into WrestleMania, but I think that's fizzled out. Ember Moon's back from injury. She's a good possibility. Carmella's been there, done that. Alexa Bliss has been there, done that. I know that they've been doing some they've been doing some segments, I should say, with her on Raw, teasing this idea that she's won it before and blah, blah, blah. Naomi is Naomi, and now we're down to Natalya and Dana Brooke, and I'm not going to pick Natalya. So yes, folks, I'm going Dana Brooke. That's right. I think Dana Brooke needs this shit beyond fucking belief. And this whole deal that, well, Sasha's gone, so there's a power vacuum, and someone's going to take the place, and blah, 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 blah. She has dropped. To me, she's worked harder than any other person in this matchup, to be fair and honest. She has completely changed her whole body. She has been doing much better on the promo end. She's been selling her ass off. She looks like a wrestler now. She works matches like a wrestler now. Now, they're basic matches. She's still doing the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, but that's fine. That shows improvement. That's her putting in the work. Now, when you win the briefcase, that doesn't mean you're in the main event. You're not the world champion tomorrow. That takes time. So you're going to build her up, obviously. But if you build her up with the briefcase, that changes the perception, especially if she ends up cashing in on a dastardly heel. Like, Bayley, Bayley can carry Dana Brooke's ass through anything. So that's my pick there. Dana Brooke, surprise pick. I know, I'm sure no one else will pick her, but I will, because I think she's the wild card. I think she's the one piece to this entire puzzle that would be different from all of the rest. So that's your Money in the Bank ladder match situation. That takes place this weekend. It's going to be a dope time. I promise all of you that. But now, it's time for our main event. It's time to get to it all, ladies and gentlemen. This is the story I've been dying to talk about. I honestly cannot wait to get into this. And now it is time. It's time for us to talk about the top news story.
And now back to Action News 5. Our top story tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Horrifying is not the word for this. Absolutely not. Lower that down for me here, because I am about to tell you all a story. Come on, come all, ladies and gentlemen. Walk around the fire. Have a seat. Uncle O has a story, a tale, if you will, for all of you kiddies out there who don't understand the ways of our world. I want you to listen to me, okay? I got a story for you. I take you back into my time machine. I'll take you back to 1998. Little O sitting on the couch is about to approach 8:57 p.m. on a Monday night. And your boy, excuse me, did I say 8:57? Excuse me, 7:57. I believe that was also 7:57. And your boy is having some difficulty deciding in his brain, what do I do? Do I put it on the USA Network and watch WWF Monday Night Raw? Or do I put it on TNT and watch WCW Monday Nitro? It was a hard choice. We're in the midst of a war, ladies and gentlemen. Two companies competing for your viewership and upping the ante on each other. Over and over and over. Back and forth. Week by week. Match by match. Segment by segment. Going toe-to-toe on two powerhouse networks on a Monday night. Now, here's what I used to do. I don't speak for everyone, but here's what I used to do. I used to do Monday Nitro at 8 o'clock or 7:57, right? I used to do Monday Nitro at 8 o'clock. And I would watch Nitro from 8 to 9. Then I would switch to the USA Network from 9 to 11. Now here's the deal. Nitro ran 3 hours, so it would go from 8 to 11. So both shows ended same time, 11 o'clock. But here's the deal. And I don't know if this was every area, but I know in my area, at the time when I was living in Connecticut, Nitro aired from 8 to 11, and then it went from 11 to 2. That's right, it replayed at 11. So I would catch the first hour from 8 to 9, just to kind of get a feel of how the show looks. Then I'd watch Raw from 9 to 11, and then I would stay up from 11 to 2 to watch Nitro. So I was watching both shows. I was watching Raw, then I was watching SmackDown. You're thinking to yourself, SmackDown, Nitro. You're probably thinking to yourself, Orsini, how the hell can you function in school the next day on Tuesday if you're staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning every Monday? Well, sometimes I made it, folks, and sometimes I didn't. And if I didn't, that's what the VCR was for, baby. Record that sumbitch, watch it the next day. The point is, that was about, if you count watching the first hour of Nitro 2 times, that's a 7-hour block every week on Monday watching professional wrestling. And not to mention when they gave us Thursday night and they threw a SmackDown at us going against Thunder on TBS, which was the substation, still is the substation of TNT. Baby, these were good times. Great wrestling. What was that, 7 hours that Monday, and then the Thursday shows were both 2-hour shows. So we're looking at 4 hours. That's 11 hours a week, baby, on just the pro wrestling side, baby. And that was a long time ago. And the last time I saw a professional wrestling show on TNT was 2001. That was 18 years ago, and then TNT got out of the game, and they were done forever. Until today. Until today, and the tweet was plain and simple. We're back in the wrestling business. That's what the graphic said. It was shared by the Young Bucks, shared by Cody, and eventually shared by AEW's official Twitter. It is official as of today. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, will be broadcasted on the TNT network starting in the fall, more specifically starting in October. No specific date just yet, no specific time slot just yet. All we've been told is prime time, which can be anywhere from as early as 7 to as late as about 9, maybe even 10 o'clock. But prime time, TNT, which is the main network. Also, other entities involved with this deal. I'm going to pull this back up because I wrote a whole bunch of shit out for this. I'm not going to say all this, obviously. But they will also be streaming AEW on their, I think it's that's not Bleacher Report, is it? It says BR Live. I'm not sure if that's Bleacher Report or whatever the case may be. They have a streaming network, which is the point. And they'll also be airing live pay-per-views, which would include the Double or Nothing show coming up on May 25th. AEW will be presented to advertisers during the Warner Media Upfront at the Madison Square Garden Theater today. That took place today. As I said to you before, this is the first time since March 26, 2001 that wrestling has been on the TNT network. Let's go to a direct quote here from the president and CEO of AEW, Tony Khan, as he spoke on today's announcement. Wrestling fans have wanted and needed something different, authentic and better for far too long. AEW is answering the call. AEW is about more than wrestling. It's about a movement fueled by wrestling fans who have been undeserved and perhaps even disappointed by what the industry has produced in recent years. Ouch! Tony, taking the shot. We will come back to that comment in just a second. Warner Media and AEW's deal will only add to the increasing visibility of wrestling on television and streaming platforms. It comes at a time when WWE is moving its Tuesday night SmackDown Live to Fridays on Fox starting October 4th, while keeping Monday Night Raw on USA as part of television deals worth of a combined $2.35 billion over the next 5 years. So here is the deal with that. So for those of you who had trouble just following what I just said, this show that's coming up for AEW is going to be a Tuesday night show. However, for those of you thinking we're going to compete with I'm not AEW, but the AEW is going to compete with WWE directly on programming, they will not, because on October 4th, which will be the date before whenever AEW tends to debut, they're moving their Tuesday show to Friday. So it won't be a direct competitor to SmackDown or Raw. But the article moves on. I got this article, by the way, from the New York Post, but it's all over the place. Every website has it. A WWE show, for which the format and name are still to be determined, will also run on FS1, that's Fox Sports Network 1, on Tuesday night. It's been rumored that AEW television will also air on Tuesday. So I don't know what that show is going to be. No one really does just yet, except for maybe the WWE. But whatever that program is, AEW will be competing against. So it won't be competing against their major programming. If anything, I have a feeling like now that WWE is aware that they'll be having programming on Tuesdays, they're probably not going to put anything crazy on Tuesday. Just for the simple reason that they just know they're going to take a ratings hit because people are just genuinely curious as to what AEW is going to bring to the table. We continue, because this is very important what I'm reading to you, because I'm going to get into this. AEW is described as providing less scripted, soapy drama, and more athleticism and real sports analytics. AEW will also introduce statistics to wrestling as a way to deepen fan engagement by tracking each competitor's wins and losses as the wrestlers pursue championships, analyzing their moves, assessing damage to their opponents, and providing insights into their winning streaks. AEW already had its broadcast team in place, as Jim Ross will be the voice of AEW, and he will be joined by Excalibur and Alex Marvez. Alicia Atout will handle backstage interviews, and Justin Roberts is their official in-ring announcer. Let's break this thing down piece by piece. Just really, I'm not quick. I know I'm running long here as it is, but I really want to get this information out. I have a big statement to make for everyone out there who keeps trying to convince me AEW is not trying to not trying to compete with the WWE. They're going to do their own thing, man. They're going to do their own thing, and they're going to give wrestlers an opportunity, a second place to work without having to worry about WWE's bullshit. It's going to give us real wrestling on television. They're not going to compete with the WWE. And I have been saying this entire time. Bullshit. Bullshit. Of course you're competing with the WWE. Duh. Obviously, you can't... Listen to me, okay? I'm going to read it again. Okay, not the whole thing, but I'm going to read this quote again. Okay? Wrestling fans have wanted and needed something different, authentic, and better for far too long. AEW was answering the call. AEW is about more than wrestling. It's about a movement fueled by wrestling fans who have been undeserved and perhaps even disappointed by what the industry has produced in recent years. If you truly believe in your heart as a fan that Tony Khan and the Khan family didn't get into this business to be number fucking one, you're out of your fucking mind, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I told you months ago, for everybody who fucking jumped on me saying that they're of course they're competing with WWE. You have to compete. You don't have to compete with WWE or Cini. They don't have to compete. They could just be a wrestling company. Are you fucking insane? That is not how business works. I will continue because Tony didn't stop fucking talking. There's more. AEW was described as providing less scripted, soapy drama and more athleticism and real sports analytics. Those are shots. For those of you who keep poking the bear at the WWE, oh, they're doing this because they're afraid of AEW. They're doing this because they're worried about AEW. Of course they are. You know why? They're competition. And Tony Khan is apparently, with this announcement, making it very clear they're coming for the fucking head. They're saying it right here. The fans have been pissed off, and we're here to lead the charge. It's perfect. It's like Pied Piper bullshit. He's saying all the right things to get all these fucking indie nerds just jerking off with weak old Vaseline on the balls and all. Just the whole area is just oiled the fuck up, jerking off in front of their fucking keyboards to all of this shit. They're playing the part perfectly. And I'm not saying this as a hater or as a negative. This is smart. They are Remember, folks, I'm not saying this to throw the shit back into your face. I'm talking to you because I know what I'm stomping on the floor right now. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've been doing this shit for fucking years. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. There was never a fucking chance that the Khan family did not look at this as a fucking competition. They invested $100 million. Do you know how you become a millionaire? Do you know? You become a billionaire by not spending your fucking money. You become rich by not spending your money. When you spend money, the job of a billionaire, when you spend money, is to make twice as much as you spent. To receive twice as much as you spent. They're not expenditures, they're investments. He invested in AEW. And if you think someone is going to spend $100 million on a project so a bunch of indie wrestlers can relax and feel comfortable and safe and not have to worry about competing with the WWE, you are fooling yourselves. That's why there's so much pressure on this project. It's competition. He's saying it all here for you. He's spelling it out. The fans are thirsty. They're dehydrated from the garbage that other wink company has been doing. We're here, that's his exact words. We are here to answer the call. We're going to lead the charge, folks. It's a movement fueled by wrestling fans who have been undeserved and perhaps even disappointed by what the industry has produced in recent years. They're calling for a fight. I did it in the beginning of this cold open here. What Ted Turner said. We don't want to just compete. We want to kick his ass. They want to kick Vince McMahon's ass. And they feel, after all these years of complacency, that the old man is ripe for the fucking picking. And maybe they're right. Aren't they? Because you guys have been chanting for this guy, Vince McMahon, to hand the reins over to his son-in-law, and he's old, and he's out of touch, and he doesn't know what we want, and all this malarkey. So according to that theory, why not compete? He's a billionaire. You're a billionaire. He's got resources. You've got resources. He's got national television. Now you've got national television. If your dick is the same size as his fucking dick, why not try to outfuck him? Grab some more bitches than he has. Why not compete? Why not? All this bullshit about this is not about AEW versus WWE. Of course it is. Duh. Because that's what business is. You and I don't physically see Wendy's and Burger King and McDonald's competing against each other, but I promise you they are. Okay? The two gas stations who are on opposite sides of the street, they may not be verbally or physically competing against each other, but it's called open market. It's a competition. To stay alive, you need people to invest in you. WWE right now is struggling to pull in the ratings. They're land-basing at 2. What do you think is going to happen? That the WWE is going to keep their 2 million people and AEW is going to go on TV and we'll just get a whole new 2 million? That's not how that works. That 2 will be split in half and then some new viewers will jump on and the numbers will have to grow organically. You don't just all of a sudden go on TV and all of a sudden now it's a whole new entity and we're going to get all of our own numbers. No. That's not how this is going to work. It's a competition. Always has been. And let's get to the bottom end of this here. Less scripted, soapy drama. This part here. Sports analytics. Real sports analytics. You know what I thought of when I read all this? Statistics to wrestling as a way to deepen fan engagement and tracking each competitor's wins and losses as the wrestlers pursue championships, analyzing them. But you know what all this reminded me of? And you can agree or disagree. I don't know how far back a lot of you go with this, but Ring of Honor did this a long time ago. And again, Orsini just happens to be at the right place at the right time. The website of Ring of Honor used to have a power ranking based on just this. Wins, losses, streaks, the type of competition they beat, and they had this list. And whenever they would do the list, the top competitor on the list would eventually get a championship match. And that's how they were determining a lot of their number one contenders. And I remember, and what I'm about to tell you right now is exactly why they stopped doing it and why a lot of professional wrestling companies don't do this. Okay, so like I told you guys, I think it was last week, my wife's first gift to me, 1 year anniversary, was tickets to a Ring of Honor show at the Rexplex in New Jersey. Okay? We live in New York, so we took a bus from the Manhattan Center on 34th into Jersey to the show. We saw the show, and they bussed us back. As a special surprise for the bus, they would have talent from Ring of Honor come onto the bus, do a little meet and greet, a little Q&A. Not extra. It's just a thank you for joining the bus group or whatever. When we got there, the person who spoke to us was Allison Danger. And when we were leaving, 2 people came on the bus. It was Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. And we were able to do a Q&A, and we were able to ask questions and take pictures. And I asked the question because at the time, Samoa Joe was the Ring of Honor World Champion. And one of the best matches that I wanted to see more than anything else at that time, because I think the number 4th ranked guy on the list was Alex Shelley, who's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And I asked the question, I said, according to the power rankings, Alex Shelley is ranked 4th. Okay? So I asked him, how much are you looking forward to? Because I think at that time, I don't think they wrestled at that time. I said, how much are you looking forward to eventually getting into the ring with him as he ascends up the list? And Joe looked at me like I just farted in his mother's mouth. And it was really awkward, like for a second, because I think he was thinking, and he just says to himself out loud, "What power ranking are you talking about?" So I told him I had to explain the list to him, and he goes, "Oh, I didn't even know anything about that." Yeah, and then he just started talking about how great Alex Shelley was and how he'd love to get in the ring with him and all this other stuff. They didn't know. They didn't keep track of this shit. No, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here. What I'm saying is that you got to be careful with the realism part, with the wins and losses, because at the end of the day, this is still scripted. It's hard to write wrestling shows far enough ahead to keep these wins and losses in mind. Okay, this person goes over here, so now he's 1-0. But then he's going to lose here. He's going to be 1-1. But I can't do that because I need him to be undefeated so I can bring him here. It gets cloudy. So this is a nice idea on paper. And I'm sure they wouldn't have announced it if they didn't have something already kind of concrete on a way that they kind of want to go about this. You know? And I'm sure they have contingency plans, and everyone's going to check their ego at the door. And I'm sure with the... Because, 2005... Was it 2005? No, it was 2004 when I asked Samoa Joe that question. The whole internet cell phone deal wasn't nearly as capable as it is now. I think now it's a little easier to keep track of this shit. So maybe it works out more. But I have my concerns because this shit's been done before, and it's failed every fucking time. Every fucking time. And this isn't the first time. Ring of Honor was the one that I remembered of because I was personally involved in that. But I've seen other instances, even WWE at some point tried it. With the power rankings and the list and all this shit. It's just hard to keep track of. It's not realistic. Guys lose, guys win. It's all interchangeable at the end of the day as long as you're telling the story you need to tell. Okay, you take a guy who's undefeated 10-0 and he doesn't get a title shot for forever because he just happens to be, like what happens if... I don't know, Chucky T is like undefeated out of nowhere. He's like 7-8-0, and he's like, hey, when am I going to get my title shot? And, Jericho just looks at this piece of shit like, what? What are you talking about? And I'm not actually thinking that Chucky's a piece of shit. I'm going by the gimmicks and the characters here. Jericho wouldn't look at Chucky T and go, yeah, you deserve an AEW championship match simply because you're fucking 8-0. That doesn't make any sense. Quality of opponent, all that garbage. Like, there's factors to all this shit. So... there's a lot of things that you got to be careful about. There's a lot of things going into this that you just gotta buckle down, man. You just you gotta do this. You gotta compete. You gotta compete. There's no other way around this. Of course, it's a fucking competition. You have to compete. That's what this is. It's business. That's why I played that cold open in the first place. People are like, well, there's no need to compete. You're just fuck that. Go for it, man. Why the fuck not? It doesn't make any sense not to. You've got the same fucking resources they have. You've been doing this. You've been a businessman for forever. Yes, granted, this is the wrestling business, but the variation of Vince McMahon's wrestling business and the one that I've been in for years is not the same fucking wrestling business. Vince doesn't treat his company like a pro wrestling company. He owns it. He operates it. He brags about the fact it's an entertainment company. Which, the Khans have been doing for years. What do you think football is? The only thing they weren't doing was just scripting the fucking plays out. This is something that can be done. It's just a matter of whether or not, especially with the people behind it. If you really believe AEW is great and is a refreshing take on pro wrestling, why the fuck would you not? I'm not telling you not to support the WWE. Because that's not what I did. That's not what a lot of 90s kids did. We talk the talk. I'm a WWE guy. My friend Alex Polgreen, who's been on the show, he's a WCW guy. But at the end of the day, we watched both shows. You guys can do the same, and you probably will. You'll watch an AEW show, you'll watch a WWE show. That's not even going to be a fucking issue, I'm sure. But at some point, because it happens, I've been there, folks. A lot of people my age who've been wrestling fans for as long as I have, we've all been there. We talked the talk, we watched both shows, but at the end of the day, when it came down toward the end there, those ratings for WCW down into the toilet, and WWE up 6, 7, 8 on the ratings because that's how we determined a winner. Eventually, WWE won over all the wrestling fans, and WCW slowly started to lose that. There will be a winner and loser in this, folks. We haven't even had the first show yet. It's all the way in October. That's like another 5 months from now. I'm getting ahead of myself, I know. But I've seen this episode before, folks. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser. That's why for everybody who keeps saying, oh, WWE doesn't fear AEW, they've been doing this for years. Doing it for years is the exact reason why there's a problem. And they should be ready for this problem because AEW is new. Everything in movies and television now, it's all about new. Everything about AEW is new, it's shiny, it's the brand new toy. And for everybody who keeps laughing at these fans when they say AEW is going to put WWE out of business, you know what, folks? If they play their cards right, if they stay modern, if they book their shows the way they should, as opposed to the WWE, if they get talent from all around the world and put on the best product, guess what? They can do it. And I know they can do it because I've seen other companies get close. WCW, obviously, the closest. And if it wasn't for mismanagement, they might have had a real shot at doing it. If AEW does not have mismanagement, they're a fucking threat. And this whole thing is going to get really fucking interesting really fucking fast. Everyone is debuting in October, which is a dead period. You want to know how strong AEW really is? See me in January. Because regardless of what AEW promotes as their top show, we all know the real top show is WrestleMania. And WrestleMania season is when they really get their ratings through the roof. And if AEW can cut into that, they're a problem. And they will be a problem going forward, even through their first year. There's a lot of guys right now who need work, a lot of great talent. AEW has their pick of the litter. And I cannot wait, for me, to see where all of this goes. I'm super excited, and I personally cannot wait. Thank you guys for sticking with me on this. I know this was a very long-winded one, but I owed you because I gave you a really super short one on the last one, so I didn't want to screw you guys over on content. You know, I usually like to bring a little thunder to the table. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for downloading. Thank you guys for sharing. And, of course, thank you guys for enjoying episode. And I should really, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it out loud, before I end this, I don't sing enough on this show. I really don't. I do not sing enough for this fucking show. Okay, we're going to do that right now. You guys ready? Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for sharing. And of course, thank you for enjoying. And now I know why I don't sing on this show. I just got that. All right. Last time. Never again. Sorry about that.
Welcome to our dirty show. This is Uncensored Mine. If you listen to my daddy's show, he should buy me toys. He's a good daddy.